Hey everyone, good day to all of you. I hope you're all doing well. So I've had a kind of a passing interest in the G36 platform for the past several years. Just, I don't know, like one day a year I'd think about it and think, oh, it'd be really cool to own one. Never really did, but just a few weeks ago, I kind of had that itch again, and I was looking at Gunbroker, saw a SL8 at a remarkably good price. So I now have an SL8. Otherwise, wouldn't have got it, but yeah, just really couldn't pass up on this. I know that this video is kind of years out of date because this isn't even imported anymore by HK USA. This whole line has been discontinued as of recording this video. I don't think they're ever gonna really bring it back, but the reason I wanted to do this video regardless is just because it's fun, and I'm putting all the effort into precision testing of this for myself anyway, so I figured, what the heck, I may as well make an actual proper YouTube video out of it too. So what I'm going to be doing, well, the reason I'm doing this whole test is because I'm curious what the maximum precision, or what kind of just the average precision is, because like I said, I want to do kind of a G36 build. I'm going to be converting this, and I'm not sure which direction I exactly want to take it. Do I want to kind of leave it as a full length, or rather a bit longer than full length G36, because this is a 20.8 inch barrel, really long. I've heard a lot of reports of people say that when you cut down an SL8 barrel, that it does suffer as far as the accuracy is concerned, so I'm a bit reluctant to do that unless this doesn't have accuracy to begin with, because I did get this used, so do keep that in mind going into the test. This doesn't look like it was too used. I'll put up the bore scope from where I initially picked this up, and I actually did the precision test already. I'm not going to spoil anything just yet, but I did it in 2 different sessions. So I did the initial one, just doing a very quick wipe down of the bore, and that's the bore scope footage you were seeing there. And then I came back, did an extremely deep clean of the bore, got this as clean as possible, and then I went and did a second batch of precision tests, which I'll talk about more in detail when we get to that. But going back to the topic, like I was saying, so I want to figure out if I'm going to be cutting the barrel down or not. I'm leaning towards probably not, and as for this optic right here, what I have on here at the moment is my migratory just 8 power short dot. I use this for all my precision tests, just very good, consistent, amazing scope. It is really, really high on this SL8, so it will absolutely not be staying in this configuration, even if I do end up putting a short dot onto here, which I might. But that was another reason I wanted to do this test, is to figure out, is it even worth putting an LPVO on here? Do I want a different type of optic? In other words, does the precision even warrant whatever optic I end up putting on here as a final choice? So that's what I'm going to be finding out. How these precision tests are going to be done, pretty much my norm. So 10 round groups, 10 round mags, so full mag, mostly from prone, though this time I did actually do a few from the bench as well, just because I was having some issues with how tall, ridiculously tall this is. I'm going to have a rear bag for support bag here for all the groups when I was doing them off of the bipod and prone, and I did try to record all the velocities because that's just a good way to gauge if there's any weird shots that look like flyers. Then I can check if the velocity is way off. I was having a lot of issues, just as a preliminary warning. Pretty much not going to be able to report any of the velocities on, I think, about 50% of the groups from the first session, because I was having some issue with my lab radar. I think the sun somehow was causing issues. I think it was like glinting off the bullet, so it couldn't pick it up correctly when it's going down range. But in the later groups, you'll see we do have some good velocities recorded. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start showing you the groups all in order. So starting with the first session.
It's the first precision group with the HK SL8 going to be firing at the top left target down there at 100. 10 rounds of 69 grain sear tip Match King, which historically does well in pretty much every rifle that I've tested it in. So let's get started. This next group of 10, again, this is going to be the Berger 70 grains at the top right target.
Let me see one thing before.
Third group is 69 grain Barnes match burners. The lab radar position has been adjusted. A lot of problems with it today, but hopefully now it'll actually record. These will be fired at the middle left target. Pretty good. Next up, 68 grain Hornady. These are going to be at the middle right target now. Still having problems with the lab radar. At least a few from that last string did count, but still not getting many. I'm worrying less about it as time goes on because I just want to focus on firing a good group. But unfortunately, we're probably not going to have much data with that.
And I do want to add here regarding these Hornady bullets, I did actually do another group of these with a different powder, A2230, and actually really crazy. It shot almost identical. So I'm just going to go ahead, for the sake of brevity, I'm just going to cut that footage out, but all the stats from it will be up on the screen right now. Really crazy. It actually shot just 0.01 MOA difference. So it's virtually identical as far as the group size goes. So not great, not terrible either, I suppose.
This group is going to be fired at the bottom left target. These are 69 grain Lapua. And hopefully, whatever happened with that last group, we got lucky, everything recorded on the lab radar, so hopefully this one does too. The sun is a bit different now, because it is, I think it's right at sunset now probably, so.
So before we go and move on to the second precision test, I did want to talk about just a quick recap of the 6 that I already shot. And of course, you only saw the footage for 5 because I cut out the last one. Again, that was just because it was a redo of the Hornady. But you can see the last target here on the screen right now. So overall, it was usually about 2-ish MOA to 2.6-ish MOA, which is not terrible, kind of like a same sort of thing I said earlier with the Hornady ammo, but it's not great. I really expected a bit better. So after I did this precision test, I was thinking for a few days, like, what could be causing the issue? Because I really think that there's something going on. I think it should be shooting better than this. So what I did, and I'll show you right now, the borescope footage, I did a really, really deep clean. One thing I was worried about, if you look at the original borescope footage, it's not in that bad of shape overall, the bore, but I was worried that carbon fouling that you're seeing, usually I don't worry about it too much, but I was thinking, given that this is a pre-owned rifle, it might be obscuring some other details. There might be something underneath the carbon fouling that, you know, maybe there's fire cracking or something, or maybe there's some lead residue if they were shooting soft point, or God forbid, like a total lead bullet, which is weird for 223.556, but I've seen people do it. So I was worried that might be the case. So I wanted to get all of that totally
scrubbed out. Got it as clean as possible. As you can see right here, just a nice, clean, shiny, silver looking bore. And yeah, got it as good as I can, and really still not seeing any issues with the bore at all. It still looks perfectly crisp. The rifling looks well defined. I don't see any fire cracking. I do see a little bit of what looks like wear in front of the gas port, which is normal for a more used rifle. I don't know how many rounds were shot through this prior to me owning it. I would estimate it's not a lot, maybe 1,000, but overall, yeah, there's really nothing I would say that's too much of a concern. After doing this deep clean, I did actually do some fouling shots, of course, because just to make sure all the solvent is totally blasted out. And then I did let the rifle cool for, I think actually like 40 minutes, because I brought out some other rifles prior to doing this precision test and was just shooting those in the meantime. And then I came back to the SL8. This is the second precision test, the HK SL8. Quite different conditions here. I'm also going to be firing this off the bench. I usually don't like shooting off the bench because of different issues with, or potential issues with harmonics, and it's just not comfortable. As you can see, the height of this at the range I'm at is super weird, but I was worried that with the height of this optic, this is just a 1.5 pretty average height for like an AR, but given the height of the top rail, optic rail right here, it's pretty uncomfortable, so I was worried that I might be putting some bad input into it from prone. So I'm testing off the bench to see if it shoots any differently, in case, like I said, in case it was me. I'm going to be starting with the same 69 grain sear tip match kings. Not going to be doing every single round from last time because a few of them just didn't shoot well, period. But these, and then I'll walk through, and I have one more new type of ammo here as well that I'll be trying. I'm going to be firing this again at 100 yards. I'm going to be shooting at the top left. So let's get started. Next up is match burners. Last target's going to be 10 rounds of this Sig Sauer 77 grain marksman. It's going to be at the bottom target. So I'm actually going to do one more group here. This is still the second precision test. It's actually the same day, despite how it looks. It has just a lot of temperature change in about only 30 minutes. But I did a quick, just kind of a preliminary field measurement of all those targets, and I didn't really see any difference, or again, just as a field measurement between the bench shooting and when I was doing the prone last time. If anything, the bench might have been a little bit worse, so I'm back to prone. I'm going to be testing just one more group. This is the Barnes match burner, which appeared to have done the best in the first precision group and appeared to have done the best off the bench there. So going to see how it does. I'm at the same range. I'll put up the new ambient conditions. Won't make much of a difference, but you know, just for completion's sake. And yeah, another 10 rounds. So let's go ahead and do one final conclusion just to give my thoughts on how everything did, and in case anyone is skipping around and just want to hear how things went. So tested on the bench as well as from prone. Like I said, I was worried that I might be putting input into the rifle, especially given the unusually high optic mount, which is crazy for me to say, given that I'm usually such a high optics mount enjoyer. But yeah, this is beyond the pale. This is way too tall even for me. But even with that, it didn't seem to make a difference, as you saw on that second test, going between the bench and prone all in the same day. I actually shot better from prone, and still it was around like 1.8 MOA, 2-ish MOA. So I think it's pretty safe to say that this rifle's about a 2-ish MOA rifle. Personally, even then, I was still expecting this to shoot a little better than it actually did. That's just coming from my experience with the MR556, which I have done a lot of precision testing with. And usually with that, with good ammo, I can usually get a 10-shot group 0.8 to 1 MOA, sometimes even better than that. But, you know, pretty reliably, just sub-MOA right there. So I was hoping for similar performance out of this, and unfortunately didn't really see that. Now, only variable I'm not able to really account for that I'm thinking is going back to the fact that this SL8 is pre-owned. Granted, didn't seem to have too high of a round count, but a moderate round count. I just wonder how well a absolutely brand new out of the box SL8 would shoot by comparison. But on the other hand, I've heard a lot of people with the actual G36s, for example. There's an older TFB TV video on the G36K clone he has, where he mentioned that it shot about 2 MOA there as well. So this might just be par for the course for the platform. If any of you have done 10-round tests, I would be curious to know about, you know, how well yours shot, because I'd love to see if it is possible to get an even better group. And maybe it's just if there's a specific type of ammo that any of you have found that work really well, then yeah, I would love to try that as well. So thank you all for watching, and hope you all found this enjoyable and informative, interesting at the least. If you have any other questions on this or anything else you want to add, of course, feel free to leave that in the comments below. Take care, and hope to see you all in the next one.